Hello everyone! So we got a unique video today because this is actually a Thanksgiving special. Unfortunately, we are not recording this on Thanksgiving, but we are going to be doing a mukbang. We got poke, which is I think like our favorite ritual actually. Every Friday we get poke.
Mine's better.
We are not sponsored by Pokeworks, I wish though. But Pokeworks, if you see this, please sponsor me! We eat poke every single Friday.
That's
But
all we eat.
this is a Monday right now. We're still doing it because we just like poke that much. And we also have our mic set up, so we're going to do some kind of ASMR if there is any. And the whole point of this video is actually to mostly talk about the entire YouTube journey that I had. So because when it came to Thanksgiving, I thought the best way is to actually show thanks to you guys for being very loyal to me, especially since I hit 1,000 subscribers recently, and just wanted to do this so we can talk about my YouTube journey and like what's there to come. So I thought this was fitting. I also didn't want to talk about anything professional either because it's Thanksgiving, so I don't think anyone wants to listen to that. But this one's a little bit more casual. Got my boyfriend involved here so that way he can ask me questions and get us, involved in some fun stuff. So he's gonna ask some nitty-gritty questions. All right, so we are also filming this in our condo, so this will be the first time you guys are looking at this cabinet because the video that goes over the before and after and our closing process will be way later. So we're gonna start eating our poke.
Step 1, you shake it.
Go close to the mic so everyone can hear. Alright, so I guess the first thing off is like talk about yourself a little bit. Who are you?
So my name is Addison Chen. I am a consultant at Accenture. Currently I'm on PTO right now.
What's your relationship to me?
She is my girlfriend. That is all.
We're also roommates and we're both homeowners together on the same deed.
Yeah. But then now she decided to start YouTube. So I guess my first question for you, Christine, is why did you start YouTube?
Let me eat first. I'm hungry.
She's not allowed to eat until she answers, but it's too late.
This is a mukbang for a reason. Alright. The reason why I started YouTube, and I started back in April, May, was that I knew for sure I wanted to do something in terms of the content about technology consulting because there really wasn't anything out there. And when I first started, I actually was thinking like, wow, there really is no content in technology consulting. There's everything on management consulting or consulting in general, but nothing about tech consulting. So I thought that because back in college, I had literally no resources. The only people I could talk to were either alumni that were in technology consulting or people that are at Accenture or anything like that. So I thought like, okay, why don't I do something for that? And I wasn't actually sure between YouTube, blogging, programs, or mentorship. I don't know, whatever. There's so many things out there. Podcasts of like what was the best medium. And then I was talking to my friend Michelle Lam, which by the way, if you haven't seen it, I interviewed her here on Michelle Lam on her journey becoming like an animation storyboard artist, entrepreneur, and also YouTuber as well. So she was the one that really made me like actually consider YouTube because I wanted to do something where it's not that hard to do in terms of if I had to go in person or use a lot of time to talk like one-on-ones with people, which I'm already doing with a lot of the coffee breaks or coffee chats that I'm doing with like students at BU. But why don't I expand it further? Because if I did it by location in terms of, let's say like coffee chats in person, or which by the way, COVID-19 hit, so thank God I didn't do that. So that whole time was just like, okay, what was the best way to do it? And she said YouTube because of engagement and you get to see video and you can show a lot of things instead of like a blog post, which there's so many competition with blogs. Like blogs have been here since like the end of time of YouTube. So with the whole YouTube journey, I was wondering what exactly should I do? And I ended up settling with YouTube. And it actually grew to a lot more than I thought. It was like now a Facebook group, a podcast, all that kind of stuff. So the three main reasons why I started this whole thing was that number one, I'm already doing all these calls with Boston University students because my professor actually just funneled anyone that was interested in technology consulting or Accenture. So I was like, you know what, why don't I just like do this in a video so they can stop asking me these basic questions, and that way I can actually just help them out in a way that it covers everything, even if they don't know the question. And also it reaches out to a lot more than just Boston University students because I know a lot of people still reach out to me. Number 2 was the pandemic as well. I just had a lot of extra time, so that was one thing. And number 3, I wanted to show some people content in technology consulting and the face of like an Asian female as well, because a lot of people don't realize like, oh, I guess women can do STEM too, which is like there's a huge movement for women in STEM, but I just wanted to show that as well. Now I can finally eat.
Okay, as you mentioned, there's very few content and YouTubers on that are talk about like technology consulting. So why do you think there's so few?
Well, first of all, I think because everyone talks about consulting, but not really about tech consulting. Even the tech consultants on YouTube, they talk about just consulting. They don't really talk about tech consulting. So I think that's one thing. The other thing about like women on YouTube, I think they just have probably other content they want to cover. A lot of, this is just generalizing here, I think a lot of guys like to talk about tech and games. And then when it comes to like women, they like to talk about makeup, friendships, lifestyle, and only very few actually talk about tech. So there's like a lot of tech YouTubers that are female that I like. But that's one thing that I realized was just like, I don't think there's a lot of people that talk about tech consulting because they either don't know how to explain it, because I have too many people who just go like, oh yeah, I don't know how to explain it because it's different every time. It depends. That's like the question I ask all the time to everyone when I was still trying to figure it out. And all they said was, it depends. And this is not even just women, it's like everyone. So I'm trying to figure out a way to kind of say it because it really depends on the project, on the company, the firm, the country, all that kind of stuff. But the way I try to break it down is really like, here's how it is in general and how it could be based off of blah, blah, blah. So that way it could kind of demystify it a little bit, even though in general it's very different based off of everything.
That makes sense. Yes. So do you think it's because a lot of people prefer talking about like their hobbies over on YouTube compared to like what they're doing at work? I feel like that's one of the reasons, because it gets boring.
True. Because they're working, they don't want to talk about work.
Yeah.
At least for most people. But for me, I'm talking about work. But honestly, it's really just for me a way to, streamline, because a lot of it is just bunch of calls. So it actually was kind of helping me rather than the fact of like actually, oh, let's cover my life as a crazy cat lady, which I still do. So I kind of have that in there. So it's not completely boring. If you don't like tech or you don't like money which who doesn't like money, but that's besides the point. So I always try to have some kind of like crazy cat lady moment in there, or some stuffed animals in the background, or something about my life where it's not completely boring, where even if you're not interested in tech consulting, there's something there at least.
So say you finished talking everything about tech consulting, would you pivot over to like cat videos or like another hobby eventually?
Well, that's actually kind of why I started the way I did. I didn't want to do just tech consulting because I know that either goes really niche really quickly, or that I would limit my content a lot, because that's why like a lot of people who cover consulting, they don't actually talk about just consulting. They talk about like career skills or anything like that, and some people do like money and lifestyle, and yeah, I think a lot of people actually do lifestyle just to show you like, here's my life as a consultant, even though it may not show anything about being a consultant, just like their life. So moving forward, I know for sure I want to focus more on content for the young working professional. So anything about money, relationships, social, personal development, career skills, home buying experience.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Since not that you hit 1,000 subscribers, was that your short-term goal, or is there more to your short-term goals on YouTube?
Well, for sure it was to get monetized. Which at this point is a short-term goal. And it's mostly because like I'm already doing all this work, which I could have been doing on the side as coffee chats, being unpaid or anything like that. But if I'm putting in all this work, I want to at least be monetized for my time, because there's a lot of things I could be doing on the side that could also generate income. Something like, I don't know, dog walking. At least it's not what I want to do, but it could make me income despite making free videos online and doing a lot more coffee chats than I thought. Because now people know, like, oh, Christine has this kind of experience, or she can talk about this. Like, I'm kind of curious more about you. So now I got like maybe triple the number of people who are calling me about technology consulting because of the fact that before I just had BU students, now I have the world. I'm like, so much.
So once you get bigger, would you continue doing this as well? Mm-hmm. The calls?
I don't know, actually. I think it depends because usually when it comes to recruitment time, I get a lot more. But nowadays, not really, because people are kind of focusing on their midterms, finals, or we do like these, in the technology consulting community, these monthly networking events. So people kind of talk about it with each other there, or they make posts on Facebook about it, so that way they learn more without actually talking to me. Or I just made more content that start to answer their questions more.
Yeah, because I was thinking with your Facebook group, the technology consulting group on Facebook, would you have those people that you feel like have potential to do those calls as well?
Like to be the one that answers questions?
Yeah.
I mean, that's all on them. I'm not trying to force them to, but the whole point of the community is really to help with networking. So I know there are still some people that actually do. They join the Facebook mentorship program, or they reach out to someone that has a particular background. Like, let's say my interview with Vu over here, he comes with a biomedical engineering background. He goes to technology consulting on the federal side, like government clients. So that's a little bit interesting, and I can't really cover that because I don't have that experience yet background. So people may still reach out to him, something like that. But I think it really depends at the end of the day, like what they're looking for. But as of recently, I don't think I had that many people calling me, thankfully, because we were moving. I'm like, oh, that would have been such a pain with everything that was going on for us.
True. And you still did those calls too, that you set up those meetings. That's nice. So besides talking about short-term goals, what about your long-term goals in YouTube or career?
I'm still going to talk about tech consulting, but that's where like all the basic information about tech consulting, I'm kind of almost done with it. I still have a lot more to go. And that's why we're doing interviews too, because now I'm done with what I can talk about, because that's just my personal experience. Now I want to interview other people so that way you can get a better sense of like how it could be for everyone, which is why people go like, it depends. Well, now it doesn't matter. You just got a video on like, if you're interested in federal services, go there. If you're interested in strategy consulting, go there, or startups or whatnot. But I guess like long term, I definitely do want to go more into not just career skills or technology consulting, but also like money and lifestyle, which I always actually kind of looked down on lifestyle videos because I feel like that's very simple. And I'm like, why would people want to look at my life or watch my life? That was at least like for my mentality, and most people on YouTube do agree too. That's why like people who start with lifestyle vlogs or YouTube channels, it's hard to grow because no one cares about your life really until you're doing something that's interesting. Like, I don't know, as a crazy cat lady, maybe, I don't know. Or like maybe your moving vlog, which a lot of people like those kind of things because they want to see how it is, or apartment stuff, whatever.
Yeah.
But I think it's really just, I want to also go over more into any kind of content that would appeal to the young working professionals. So eventually could probably talk about relationships or family, or I don't know, eventually marriage or anything like that. So kind of everything. I don't want to kind of make me very pigeonholed into a particular topic or few topics, but who knows, maybe we'll do some tech reviews. We'll review like a Google Home or something. I don't know. I feel there's so many out there.
I mean, I'll figure it out. And you see what's popular nowadays. I
kind of want to do something where it's like, oh, here, let's review a Kickstarter project. But, you know, those take years, maybe months to
Kickstarter products takes forever to come anyway. So when they do, might as well look at the ones that are most recent. But yes. So basically you're thinking of doing everything. Vlogging, cat videos, interviews, maybe even dating interviews. So that seems to be pretty popular on your YouTube
That was
channel.
a fun video, actually.
Probably has one of your highest hits so far back then.
Not really. But it definitely had the most interest. because it's not just people interested in tech consulting or careers or anything. People just want to listen to hear, like, what the hell is this conversation about?
Getting consultants, a girlfriend. That's what we do around here. Oh, boyfriend.
Doesn't even have to be consultant. It could just be random people. But Lita just happens to be a consultant. If you want to watch that video, click over here.
Yes. It's funny. You have Uncle Chen joining in. But yeah, so talking about YouTube, do you have any like favorite YouTubers right now? Like inspire you, or may have some contribution to your videos?
Well, definitely Michelle Lamb, which I talked about me wanting to start YouTube. I talked to her a lot about like why should I start YouTube as opposed to everything else. She was definitely one of them because she has a YouTube channel, which long ago when she was, I think, in like elementary school. I don't know if you're even allowed to do that in elementary school, middle school maybe, where she had a YouTube channel talking about like all of her cartoons, animations, little like unfinished animations and whatnot.
What's it called?
You Tripled. And again, like I mentioned before, I did an interview on her. So that was just like one of those people where anything about YouTube, which ironically did not really help me much, but talked to me more about like the kind of behaviors people would want, or like the kind of content, or even like giving me feedback on my videos and whatnot. So honestly, it was kind of hard though, because I don't want her to sit through all my videos on tech consulting or career skills, because she's just not interested in that kind of thing. She's an animation and storyboard and she's so busy. So it's kind of hard because the kind of content that my audience would want is very different from the content her audience wants. Like I mentioned before, I'm like, why do people want lifestyle vlogs? But her audience actually likes lifestyle vlogs. I don't know. So it was kind of hard, and I don't want to make her watch every single one of my videos if it's just like not something she's interested in. But she definitely helped me a lot in terms of like, oh, this is what you could do, or this is like how you can edit the scene or whatever. And she also is a film major too, because of her major was in animation. So a lot of her experience and whatnot was helping out me a lot. One thing I also want to note is that even though she had a YouTube channel for many years, she never cared about the analytics or how it grew. She just kind of like, oh, this was a hobby. And then like, oh, all of a sudden I got like 100-something thousand subscribers. Like, what? She didn't care about that at all. But I'm at that point where I look at the analytics because I'm a tech person and I'm a business person. So I like the analytics. I like to see like what ticks and what doesn't. So that way I'm not wasting my time, because even though it is a hobby, at the same time, I don't want to waste people's time or my time. So I try to make it as efficient as possible. So that's one thing that it kind of helped, but also did not help.
I mean, nowadays YouTube is pretty competitive. So it's hard to get people to watch your videos. So you gotta follow the algorithm.
Yeah, it was easy for her because she did it years ago when there was probably no one in animation at that time.
True. Then who's your least favorite YouTuber?
You! I'm joking.
I don't even have a YouTube channel.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, but 0 subscribers.
He's in my featured channels list, by the way. Which you have 7 subscribers, by the way. Probably all our friends and family, but...
I mean, I haven't made any videos yet, but I'm leaning towards my technology base.
Don't you want to do Twitch at one point?
Yeah, but then now it's like my desk orientation, I don't really like it as much, so I might just try YouTube first.
And then that would be your role model, I guess, teaching you how to do a few things here and there.
Maybe. So who's really your least favorite of how about this? What's your least favorite video in YouTube?
I'm also gonna answer what's my most favorite video to film. I think honestly, the video on Lee Tao, actually, on trying to get him a girlfriend, was the most fun to film. It was so easy because all I did was just ask him questions that most girls would want to ask about like a partner, and just seeing his answers and the kind of fulfillment I get when he has actual girls applying. I was like, oh, if they get married, I am a big proponent of that. So that was pretty fun because we were in quarantine too, and he was also in quarantine, so we didn't really have that much social interaction. So when he came over, it's like, oh, it's a fun friend visiting us and whatnot.
But dating right now is hard to begin with anyway. So even if she does have people who are interested. It's gonna be hard to meet up.
This all started from a WhatsApp chat where we were like, oh, where he was talking about how it was so hard to date in quarantine. So I was like, okay, yeah, sure. Let's do something about it. So I suggested, what about we do a video? And he, to my surprise, actually said yes. I was like, oh, I guess it's happening that weekend.
You could say he was the first guinea pig.
His segment was funny, though. Talked about all the questions that the guys would want to hear.
That's the best part. You just skip to that part.
Wow.
That's right. Now that you talk about your most favorite to film, how are your least favorite to film so far?
Honestly, not from the time I was actually serious about YouTube. My travel vlogs were my least favorite to film because I want to just travel, but at the same time I want to document our travels. So there's so many times where I forget to vlog. So some of the vlogs that you're going to be looking at are like so short, and the editing was so painful because there's so many clips. And I at the time, this is where a lot of Michelle's expertise came in. Where I asked her, like, how did you cut down your content? Because when I put in all of the clips from our trips, it would go like 2-3 hours, and I would have to go through 2-3 hours for one day of filming. And I was just like, oh my god, so much work. So she talked to me about, because she's a storyboard artist, of like what is actually relevant for the story. You don't need to always include everything. Too much B-roll, too much talking. There was a little bit of everything. You need the right balance to kind of tell the story and also lure in the viewer. So that was one of my least favorite to film and edit. Plus, when it comes to travel vlogs, it's kind of very similar to when it comes to lifestyle. It's like no one really cares about your travel unless you make it in a way that it's like educational and helpful, where you're like, oh, you're talking about this is where we saw it, and then you give a little review about it. We were just like, here. So most people don't find value in our travel vlogs because of the fact that we don't talk about, oh, this is blah, blah, blah. We would recommend blah, blah, blah because of blah, blah, blah. And for us, it was just like fleeting. Done.
I mean, our travel videos is mostly just our personal journal in a way. Like, we didn't really make it into a actual vlog.
Yeah.
We just put it together and just send it and just upload to YouTube.
I think Las Vegas one was I think that trip was probably the closest to what we would say is like a legit vlog. Or Italy. Yeah, Italy kind of.
Yeah, Italy was probably the most recent one from last year.
Bermuda? Barely enough clips.
So short.
That was a music video, that's why.
Bermuda, there wasn't a lot of talking because there's not much to see, honestly. It's just an island.
We were kind of bored there, honestly.
The only fun part was probably just the beach. I mean, if you wanted to see Christine swimming, she was too scared.
I was not scared. It was like 60-degree waters. It was cold.
Weak. But yeah. I think our future vlogs will be better. Hopefully, we get better content, better camera. I'm just kidding. Don't need a camera. Better iPhone.
So this video is getting pretty long, but I'm gonna talk more about if you're interested in doing a YouTube channel. I think these are my main tips for you. Which, by the way, don't take them as like the only tips, because these are the ones that worked for me. Is plan ahead in terms of the kind of content you want, because you don't want to pigeonhole yourself that easily. If I did just tech consulting, most people will want me for just tech consulting. And if I were to eventually do content like moving vlog or money, then they're like all of a sudden like, what is this? So even though your growth may be a lot slower, start to generalize the kind of topics you want at the very beginning, but also do a healthy mix too. If you do like 5 videos on tech consulting all of a sudden and then 5 videos on money, then that could be like a whole month or 2-3 weeks or so without actual content that your tech consulting viewers would want, and then vice versa. So you kind of want to plan your content a little bit, and especially doing this as with a full-time job is hard. So planning is key, because you want to make sure that you actually plan ahead, and that way you're not scrambling to do a video whenever you're trying to do it. So that way when you're trying to like go on vacation or something like that, you have like a backlog and you kind of have an idea of like how it's supposed to be. So that's one tip, is to definitely try to plan ahead in terms of like the direction you want to go. So short-term and long-term goals, let's say like few months, 1 year goal, 5-year goal, and then that's kind of a good idea. You don't need to stick to the goal, but just having some kind of framework behind like why you're doing what you're doing. And it's always good to kind of, you know, change your ideas based off of how your priorities have changed. And my second tip would just be that don't focus on the numbers too much. Don't compare yourself against other people as well, because your kind of content is very different from everyone else. You can't compare yourself. If you're a lifestyle vlogger, don't compare yourself to another lifestyle vlogger. You can learn from what they're doing, but don't compare yourself because their lifestyle is different. Their own background is different. Like there's people, they would like it for different reasons. So in that case, like that's why I would say compare yourself to yourself. But you can learn the techniques that they're doing in terms of like filming or the kind of content that they're doing. But don't compare yourself because you're a different person. And vice versa, if like I'm comparing myself to a consulting YouTube channel compared to tech consulting, I do it a lot, but I really shouldn't, and you really shouldn't either, because not everyone's interested in tech consulting. But if you do a consulting YouTube channel, everyone interested in consulting, regardless of what kind of consulting, would probably want to watch that channel. So their growth may be a lot more than yours, but if you keep it sustainable, in my case, I kind of expanded to multiple topics already. That way it's a lot easier for me to just like, oh, if I don't want to talk about tech consulting, I could talk about something else, and it's still a hobby. And at the same time, people still know what to expect, as opposed to like all of a sudden like introducing new content at the end of your like, I don't know, 5 months, and then maybe you're gonna get a drop off of subscribers. The last tip that I have, and again, I have a lot more, but again, I'm just small YouTuber, so I don't want to kind of talk at you in terms of all the things you should be doing.
Just big.
Hey! Is that you're gonna need to constantly learn, and also need to have thick skin. So you're gonna always have haters. Like I had random haters too. They're like, I hate Accenture, and then they dislike everything because of the fact that they hate Accenture. Not even about my content, just like the name Accenture is in my title or something like that. And they're like, Accenture sucks, blah blah blah. But like I'm talking about tech consulting. Your experience at Accenture could be way different than mine, and for most people that's actually the case too. He's at Accenture, but his experience is way different than mine, even though we're in the same business unit at Workday.
It's all about timing, honestly.
Yeah.
When you end up being in the company.
Yeah. Or even the kind of work that you're doing.
Yeah. Because your projects just comes and goes.
Or even the country too. So that's like one of the things that I want to say is that you're going to need thick skin, and you're also going to also be aware that your numbers are kind of like, let's say you have 100 views on a video, even though that seems so small compared to everyone else. Think about it as 100 people are in the room watching your content, or in this case, like being in the same room as you talking about whatever you're talking about. That is actually a game-changing mindset, because a lot of people think like, oh, only 100 views, whatever. But there's really 100 people that came in and watched your video. So that's one thing that I want to say, is that have thick skin and constantly keep learning. Wonder why people are hating, and if they are hating, like, move on, but also take everything with a grain of salt. If they give you feedback or whatnot, make sure to actually see, is this valid feedback, or they're just saying, oh, I hate Accenture, ho ho ho. And then also, don't do everything that your viewers want you to do. I had some viewers who say like, oh, I want you to cover this, and I'm like, sure, but that's not in my long-term goal. And it's like, you can't please everyone. You have to please yourself. At the end of the day, this is your hobby, your idea, your baby. Don't have everyone tell you like what to do. I've had some people who say like, why are you bragging about your debt-free journey? And I'm like, I don't care. Like, I could do it. And then the mass majority of the people are like, oh, I love the tips that you provide, and I love these stories because it shows me that I have hope. So if you focus so much on the negatives, or people like, let's say for example, my mom. Sorry, Mom, I know you're probably gonna be watching this. She was like, why are you bragging about all this stuff? People, the haters, are going to be jealous, and they're going to hate you because you're showing your success and whatnot. And I'm like, I don't care, because I just want to be an inspiration to people of my color, of my, gender, sex, or whatever. And people of my background in New York, all of a sudden just got so dark. Whatever. Just like, this is a candlelit lunch. So I'm going to go right into this mukbang here. People want to see someone that looks like them, or of their age, or of their sex, or of their backgrounds, to show that they're successful. And then how did they do it? So that was one of the main reasons why I did what I did. I could have just been that shy, submissive, female Asian girl or something like that, and just like, oh, I don't want the haters to judge me because I paid off my student loans, and you know, that's the beauty of YouTube, and also that's the ugly of YouTube, that you can't please everyone. The only person you can really choose to please is yourself.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of YouTubers that do the same thing. They flaunt their money, but people like to watch them because it's something that they don't have, and they want to experience it through the camera. So yeah, I mean, the haters are just gonna hate in the end. You just have to know when to not get emotional about it. Yeah, I gave her a lot of advice on what to do, but she never takes it. Come on. Like, give some negativity about consulting. She doesn't want to do that.
I filmed that yesterday.
It's not up. I don't know. It's not true until I say it. You know what I'm saying, guys?
I filmed it yesterday. This is probably going to come up mid-December. So wait, like maybe 1-2 weeks. We need to edit it. I have a backlog again, just so I don't miss an upload. But it's going to take some time.
We should do a parody, too, of how clients are like. Clients you should avoid.
Okay, well that one's a little bit different though, because I have clients. I don't want people to mock them.
Consulting you should avoid. Type of consultants. The amount of same phrases they always use.
You know, that's the kind of YouTube channel you can do. 2021, new year, new you.
I'll get fired.
See, but you're fine with me doing it. You're okay with me not paying the mortgage every month?
Cut this part out. It's useless.
Wow.
I'm just trying to be funny.
So, do you want to start a YouTube channel in 2021?
Yeah.
What would it be?
I mean, I'm setting up my desk right now, so I'm thinking of making a review about it, or some like desk products you can use for productivity. I have a Medium articles about coding and stuff, so
Links down below.
So I have some tips for everybody.
I also have a YouTube video that's coming up, so definitely subscribe for more in terms of the before and after. We're going to show the empty apartment tour, and then we're going to show everything with the renovation / changes, and then also with it fully furnished in the way it's done. So everything hasn't come in yet in terms of furniture, and even like, let's say the desk, all the pieces are not even here yet too, so we can't even set up the office. Like, that's the piece we need before we can even set up the office. So that's why there's going to be a delay on that. There's just so many things we need to do, but this is a sneak peek. We made these cabinets teal and blue, so it's cute. And thank you, Sally Chen, for helping out with that.
I painted the living room, the bedroom, the office with my friends. It was nice.
With Lee Tao
and James.
So yeah, thank you guys so much, and see you guys next time. I'm not even done with this because of the fact that I just kept on talking, but he's done.
It's your YouTube channel. I don't need to talk. I just gotta give questions.
Wow. Yeah. All right, guys. See you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Peace. Peace.
Don't touch my lens.